To know the self is to know the ultimate freedom. Papaji.
Worry doesn't take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. Learn from what people do, not from what they tell you.
Audentes fortuna juvat. Fortune favors the bold. Virgil.
Keep your fears to yourself, but share your courage with others. People who do not understand your silence will never understand your words.
I have noticed that people are dealing too much with the negative, with what is wrong. Why not try the other way, to look into the patient and see positive things, to just touch those things and make them bloom. Thich Nhat Hanh.
On freedom from fear. What makes the tyrant formidable? The gods, you say, and their swords, and the men of the bedchamber, and those who exclude them who would enter. Why then, if you bring a boy to the tyrant when he is with his guards, is he not afraid? Or is it because the child does not understand these things? If then any man does understand what guards are, and that they have swords, and comes to the tyrant for this very purpose, because he wishes to die on account of some circumstance and seeks to die easily by the hand of another, is he afraid of the guards? No, for he wishes for the thing which makes the guards formidable. If, then, neither any man wishing to die nor to live by all means, but only as it may be permitted, approaches the tyrant, what hinders him from approaching the tyrant without fear? Nothing. If then a man has the same opinion about his property as the man whom I have instanced has about his body, and also about his children and his wife, and in a word is so affected by some madness or despair that he cares not whether he possesses them or not, but like children who are playing, with shells care about the play, but do not trouble themselves about the shells. So he too has set no value on the materials, but values the pleasure that he has with them and the occupation. What tyrant is then formidable to him, or what guards or what swords? Then through madness is it possible for a man to be so disposed toward these things, and the Galileans through habit. And is it possible that no man can learn from reason and from demonstration that God has made all the things in the universe, and the universe itself completely free from hindrance and perfect, and the parts of it for the use of the whole? All other animals indeed are incapable of comprehending the administration of it. But the rational animal man has faculties for the consideration of all these, and for understanding that it is a part, and what kind of a part it is, and that it is right for the parts to be subordinate to the whole. And besides this being naturally noble, magnanimous, and free, man sees that of the things which surround him, some are free from hindrance and in his power, and the other things are subject to hindrance and in the power of others. That the things which are free from hindrance are in the power of the will, and those which are subject to hindrance are the things which are not in the power of the will. And for this reason, if he thinks that his good and his interest be in these things only which are free from hindrance and in his own power, he will be free, prosperous, happy, free from harm, magnanimous, pious, thankful to God for all things, in no matter finding fault with any of the things which have not been put in his power, nor blaming any of them. But if he thinks that his good and his interest are in externals, and in things which are not in the power of his will, he must of necessity be hindered, be impeded, be a slave to those who have the power over things which he admires and fears, and he must of necessity be impious because he thinks that he is harmed by God, and he must be unjust because he always claims more than belongs to him, and he must of necessity be abject and mean. What hinders a man who has clearly separated these things from living with a light heart and bearing easily the reins, quietly expecting everything which can happen and enduring that which has already happened? Would you have me to bear poverty? Come, and you will know what poverty is when it has found one who can act well the part of a poor man. Would you have me to possess power? Let me have power, and also the trouble of it. Well, banishment, wherever I shall go, there it will be well with me. For here also where I am, it was not because of the place that it was well with me, but because of my opinions, which I shall carry off with me. For neither can any man deprive me of them, but my opinions alone are mine, and they cannot he taken from me, and I am satisfied while I have them, wherever I may be, and whatever I am doing. But now it is time to die. Why do you say to die? Make no tragedy show of the thing, but speak of it as it is. It is now time for the matter to be resolved into the things out of which it was composed. And what is the formidable thing here? What is going to perish of the things which are in the universe? What new thing or wondrous is going to happen? Is it for this reason that a tyrant is formidable? Is it for this reason that the guards appear to have swords which are large and sharp? Say this to others, but I have considered about all these things. No man has power over me. I have been made free. I know his commands. No man can now lead me as a slave. I have a proper person to assert my freedom. I have proper judges. Are you not the master of my body? What then is that to me? Are you not the master of my property? What then is that to me? Are you not the master of my exile or of my chains? Well, from all these things and all the poor body itself I depart at your bidding when you please. Make trial of your power, and you will know how far it reaches. Whom then can I still fear? Those who are over the bedchamber, lest they should do what? Shut me out? If they find that I wish to enter, let them shut me out. Why then do you go to the doors? Because I think it befits me while the play lasts to join in it. How then are you not shut out? Because unless someone allows me to go in, I do not choose to go in, but am always content with that which happens. For I think that what God chooses is better than what I choose.
A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he has not. You don't want everybody as a friend anyway.
What we do now echoes in eternity. Marcus Aurelius.
He who reflects too much will accomplish little. You will be pulled down out of jealousy. Don't get surprised. It's normal.
Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. You don't fail overnight. Instead, failure is a few errors in judgment, repeated every day. Jim Rohn.
In general, justice is the same for all, for it is something found mutually beneficial in men's dealings, but in its application to particular places or other circumstances, the same thing is not necessarily just for everyone.
If it's meant to be, it will happen. It doesn't matter if you're right.
I walk slowly, but I never walk backward. Abraham Lincoln.
No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life. No one but yourself alone. Inwardly, everything should be different, but our outward face should conform with the crowd.
The mind can go in 1,000 directions, but on this beautiful path I walk in peace. With each step, the wind blows. With each step, a flower blooms. Thich Nhat Hanh.
How we may discover the duties of life from names. Consider who you are. In the first place, you are a man, and this is one who has nothing superior to the faculty of the will, but all other things subjected to it, and the faculty itself he possesses unenslaved and free from subjection. Consider then from what things you have been separated by reason. You have been separated from wild beasts. You have been separated from domestic animals. Further, you are a citizen of the world, and a part of it, not one of the subservient, but one of the principal parts. For you are capable of comprehending the divine administration and of considering the connection of things. What then does the character of a citizen promise? To hold nothing as profitable to himself, to deliberate about nothing as if he were detached from the community, but to act as the hand or foot would do if they had reason and understood the constitution of nature. For they would never put themselves in motion nor desire anything otherwise than with reference to the whole. Therefore the philosophers say, well, that if the good man had foreknowledge of what would happen, he would cooperate toward his own sickness and death and mutilation, since he knows that these things are assigned to him according to the universal arrangement, and that the whole is superior to the part and the state to the citizen. But now, because we do not know the future, it is our duty to stick to the things which are in their nature more suitable for our choice, for we were made, among other things, for this. After this, remember that you are a son. What does this character promise? To consider that everything which is the Son's belongs to the Father, to obey him in all things, never to blame him to another, nor to say or do anything which does him injury, to yield to him in all things and give way, cooperating with him as far as you can. After this, know that you are a brother also, and that to this character it is due to make concessions, to be easily persuaded, to speak good of your brother, never to claim in opposition to him any of the things which are independent of the will, but readily to give them up, that you may have the larger share in what is dependent on the will. For see what a thing it is, in place of a lettuce, if it should so happen, or a seat, to gain for yourself goodness of disposition. How great is the advantage! Next to this, if you are senator of any state, remember that you are a senator. If a youth, that you are a youth. If an old man, that you are an old man. For each of such names, if it comes to be examined, marks out the proper duties. But if you go and blame your brother, I say to you, you have forgotten who you are and what is your name. In the next place, if you were a smith and made a wrong use of the hammer, you would have forgotten the smith. And if you have forgotten the brother, and instead of a brother have become an enemy, would you appear not to have changed one thing for another in that case? And if instead of a man, who is a tame animal and social, you are become a mischievous wild beast, treacherous and biting, have you lost nothing? But you must lose a bit of money that you may suffer damage. And does the loss of nothing else do a man damage? If you had lost the art of grammar or music, would you think the loss of it a damage? And if you shall lose modesty, moderation, and gentleness. Do you think the loss nothing? And yet the things first mentioned are lost by some cause external and independent of the will, and the second by our own fault. And as to the first, neither to have them nor to lose them is shameful. But as to the second, not to have them and to lose them is shameful and matter of reproach and a misfortune. What does the pathic lose? He loses the man. What does he lose who makes the pathic what he is? Many other things, and he also loses the man no less than the other. What does he lose who commits adultery? He loses the modest, the temperate, the decent, the citizen, the neighbor. What does he lose who is angry? Something else. What does the coward lose? Something else. No man is bad without suffering some loss and damage. If then you look for the damage in the loss of money only, all these men receive no harm or damage. It may be they have even profit and gain when they acquire a bit of money by any of these deeds. But consider that if you refer everything to a small coin, not even he who loses his nose is in your opinion damaged. Yes, you say, for he is mutilated in his body. Well, but does he who has lost his smell only lose nothing? Is there then no energy of the soul which is an advantage to him who possesses it, and a damage to him who has lost it? Tell me what sort you mean. Have we not a natural modesty? We have. Does he who loses this sustain no damage? Is he deprived of nothing? Does he part with nothing of the things which belong to him? Have we not naturally fidelity, natural affection, a natural disposition to help others, a natural disposition to forbearance? The man then who allows himself to be damaged in these matters, can he be free from harm and uninjured? What then? Shall I not hurt him? Who has hurt me? In the first place, consider what hurt is, and remember what you have heard from the philosophers. For if the good consists in the will, and the evil also in the will, see if what you say is not this. What then, since that man has hurt himself by doing an unjust act to me, shall I not hurt myself by doing some unjust act to him? Why do we not imagine to something of this kind? But where there is any detriment to the body or to our possession, there is harm there. And where the same thing happens to the faculty of the will, there is no harm. For he who has been deceived, or he who has done an unjust act, neither suffers in the head, nor in the eye, nor in the hip, nor does he lose his estate. And we wish for nothing else than these things. But whether we shall have the will modest and faithful, or shameless and faithless, we care not the least, except only in the school so far as a few words are concerned. Therefore our proficiency is limited to these few words, but beyond them it does not exist even in the slightest degree.
Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. Think of tomorrow. The past can't be mended. We live only now. Everything else is either past or is unknown.
Success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. Roy T. Bennett.
Knowledge is power, but wisdom is being able to apply it. Whoever does wrong wrongs himself. Whoever does injustice does it to himself, making himself evil.
Imagination is the ability to see things not as they are, but as they can be. Neville Goddard.
Whatsoever I am is either flesh or life, or that which we commonly call the mistress and overruling part of man, reason, Away with thy book, suffer not thy mind any more to be distracted and carried to and fro, for it will not be, but is even now ready to die. Think little of thy flesh, blood, bones, and a skin, a pretty piece of knit and twisted work, consisting of nerves, veins, and arteries. Think no more of it than so. And as for thy life, consider what it is, a wind, not one constant wind neither, but every moment of an hour let out and sucked in again. The third is thy ruling part, and here consider, thou art an old man, suffer not that excellent part to be brought in subjection and to become slavish. Suffer it not to be drawn up and down with unreasonable and unsociable lusts and motions, as it were with wires and nerves. Suffer it not any more, either to repine at anything now present, or to fear and fly anything to come, which the destiny hath appointed thee.
By remaining true to yourself without seeking to compare and compete, you will achieve universal respect. Don't get married because you think it's something you have to do. You don't have as much time as you think.
Man's character is his fate. Heraclitus.
Do not think you are destined to live forever. You are mortal, and your time is limited. Use it wisely. Here for a good time, not a long time.
The only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. Alan Watts.
Do not ever conceive anything impossible to man, which by thee cannot or not without much difficulty be effected. But whatsoever in general thou canst conceive possible and proper unto any man, think that very possible unto thee also.
People often confuse stress with responsibility. That mountain you've been carrying, you were only supposed to climb. Nobody's intentions are truly clear even after being stated.
There is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path. Buddha.
Learn to handle rejection gracefully. It's a part of life. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering.
Where focus goes, energy flows. Tony Robbins.
All those things, for matter of experience, are usual and ordinary, for their continuance but for a day, and for their matter most base and filthy. As they were in the days of those whom we have buried, so are they now also, and no otherwise.
It is not about having what you want, but wanting what you have. It's okay. They are only human. What people say when they are angry aren't things they mean. They regret it often. Forgive angry people.
As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Seneca emphasizes the importance of continuous learning and self-improvement. He encourages us to never stop growing and developing our understanding of life.
To get married means to have your rights and double your responsibilities. If you knew how rarely we are understood correctly, you would be silent more often.
The more reasons you have for achieving your goal, the more determined you will become. Brian Tracy.
He who is greedy of credit and reputation after his death doth not consider that they themselves by whom he is remembered shall soon after every one of them be dead, and they likewise that succeed those, until at last all memory, which hitherto by the succession of men admiring and soon after dying hath had its course, be quite extinct. But suppose that both they that shall remember thee and thy memory with them should be immortal, what is that to thee? I will not say to thee after thou art dead, but even to thee living, what is thy praise? But only for a secret and politic consideration, which we call economian or dispensation. For as for that it is the gift of nature, whatsoever is commended in thee, what might be objected from thence, let that now that we are upon another consideration be omitted as unseasonable. That which is fair and goodly, whatsoever it be, and in what respect soever it be, that it is fair and goodly, it is so of itself and terminates in itself, not admitting praise as a part or member, that therefore which is praised is not thereby made either better or worse. This I understand even of those things that are commonly called fair and good, as those which are commended either for the matter itself or for curious workmanship. As for that which is truly good, what can it stand in need of more than either justice or truth, or more than either kindness and modesty? Which of all those either becomes good or fair, because commended, or dispraised suffers any damage? Doth the emerald become worse in itself, or more vile if it be not commended? Doth gold or ivory or purple? Is there anything that doth, though never so common as a knife, a flower, or a tree?
No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start.
Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Seneca.
There is no point in being grown up if you can't act a little childish. Don't tell your problems to everyone. 80% don't care, and the other 20% are glad you have them.
Being rich is an obstacle to loving. When you are rich, you want to continue to be rich, and so you end up devoting all your time, all your energy in your daily life to stay rich. Thich Nhat Hanh.
Cast away from thee opinion, and thou art safe. And what is it that hinders thee from casting of it away? When thou art grieved at anything, hast thou forgotten that all things happen according to the nature of the universe, and that him only it concerns who is in fault, and moreover that what is now done is that which from ever hath been done in the world, and will ever be done, and is now done everywhere? How nearly all men are allied one to another by a kindred not of blood, nor of seed, but of the same mind. Thou hast also forgotten that every man's mind partakes of the deity, and issueth from thence, and that no man can properly call anything his own, no, not his son, nor his body, nor his life. For that they all proceed from that one who is the giver of all things, that all things are but opinion, that no man lives properly, but that very instant of time which is now present, and therefore that no man, whensoever he dieth, can properly be said to lose any more than an instant of time.
Buy real estate, land, anything you can afford. The less possessions you own, the happier and less burden you will have in your life. he suffers more than